So that's what happens every Tuesday when we have a caucus meeting. I was watching Goldie, is really enthusiastic today, mate, weren't you? Oh, yeah. Well, good afternoon, delegates. It's an absolute privilege to be speaking to you all here today as your leader. I'd like to acknowledge National Party President Peter Goodfellow, my fellow board members, MPs who are here, particularly Dr. Shane Retty and Yvonne, Sir Jim Macleay, all my northern colleagues, and all of you, members of the National Party. It's great to see you all here today, and I think the largest turnout we have had in my memory, even more importantly, Andrew Hunt's memory. So actually that is probably only 5 minutes for Andrew, but yeah, very long. And now is a critical time for the National Party. The past 12 months have been a challenging time. 2020 was a tough campaign. But you, the members and volunteers, were and are fantastic. It's one thing for you to all turn out to support National when we're in government. But last year, you all proved your dedication by knocking on doors, putting up hoardings during what was a much tougher campaign. And we really appreciate everything that you did. Through our internal review, we must reflect on the past 3 years to dissect what went wrong and what changes need to be made. And this is a key focus for our regional conferences this year. But given that we have spent more than 6 months reflecting on our first term in opposition, my message is that we now also need to look forward. We need to talk about the big issues facing New Zealand right now and in the future. We need to talk about what makes the National Party the party of choice to address these issues. And many of you are saying that to make National relevant, we need to remember and re-emphasise our core party values. What we stand for. What makes National unique? And I agree. In order to address the big questions New Zealand is facing, we need to remember what sets National apart and makes us different from other political parties. We need to build the case for why National's values will lead to better outcomes for New Zealanders in the areas that matter. And those areas are better housing and communities, safer communities, better infrastructure, less traffic congestion, a sustainable environment, and more confidence in your local school. And New Zealanders want a more cohesive society where everyone is treated equally. Where freedom of speech is maintained. These are the things people care about. These are the things that support strong communities and will support New Zealand to recover from COVID-19. I believe the National Party's values are strong, and we will rebuild our public support by emphasising the values that have seen National in government 2 out of every 3 years since 1950. And fundamentally, New Zealand's values are National Party values. And we shouldn't let an extraordinary 12 months question who we are and what we stand for. You know National's values are strong. You joined National because you share these values. Loyalty to our country, its democratic principles and our sovereign as head of state. National and personal security. Equal citizenship and equal opportunity, individual freedom and choice, personal responsibility, competitive enterprise and rewards for achievement, limited government, strong families and caring communities, and sustainable development of our environment. These are strong values. They represent New Zealand, they represent me, they represent you. They are the values. They are the values I believe in and work for, and they are the values we will fight for. These are the values that will build support for National to win government in 2023. I believe that National Party values are more relevant than ever. And I want to focus on two questions relating to our values today. What are New Zealand's democratic principles, and what does equal citizenship mean in a Treaty of Waitangi context? Treaty of Waitangi is New Zealand's founding document. We should consider how we can reflect this in our National Party values. And that work is underway. The treaty is also a powerful document that provides the context for a strong discussion to strengthen our values. It covers three basic but fundamental values that can already be seen reflected in National Party values. Let's take Article 1, Kawanatanga. It establishes the Queen as our sovereign and head of state. This speaks directly to our first National Party value of loyalty to our country and sovereign. Article 2, Tēnā Rangatiratanga, confirms the property rights of all people. It establishes that all iwi, family and individuals, have rights over their own land and property. And property rights are again a key democratic principle and core to National Party values. And Article 3, Ōritatanga, most importantly states all people have the same rights. And those three simple concepts, nationhood, property rights and equal rights, are a powerful foundation for a country, a powerful foundation to consider our National Party values. And the preamble to the treaty provides the context in which it was signed and should be read. The preamble states that the intention of the treaty was to promote peace and avoid lawlessness. Again, directly in line with National Party values of national security and strong communities. Now, it's important to state up front that the treaty was breached, and those breaches, the New Zealand land wars, have left Māori in a different position today to where they would have been had those breaches not occurred. The inequities we see today trace back to the actions of the past. It's right that we look to address these wrongs, and it's right that we undertake settlements with iwi and hapu impacted by treaty breaches. We are proud of our track record in settling treaty claims. And our members can be proud of the support that you gave us to do that. But this is not the debate we find ourselves in today. The debate today has moved to what is the role of the treaty in our democracy going forward? Did the treaty bring us together as one people, or did it split us apart as two? And the Labour government is developing its proposed health restructure, has said that we have a treaty obligation to have separate health systems. They are demanding a model where we have separate health authorities, one for Māori and one for everyone else. And let me be clear, National agrees that there is room within a health system based on need for delivery programs that target the needs of Māori and other New Zealanders. We have already walked that walk as the National Party, supported by our members. We have delivered and supported ko hangareo, kura kaupapa and wānanga. But this is not what Labour's changes are about. Its changes are not based on addressing inequities. Labour has said its changes are about meeting treaty obligations. And Labour has interpreted Article 2 and Tēnā Rangatiratanga as requiring Māori decision-making at all levels of the system. The proposed Māori Health Authority will not only have the ability to commission its own work, but also the ability to veto decisions made by the government on general health. Let me say that again. The proposed Māori Health Authority will not only have the ability to commission its own work, but also the ability to veto decisions made by the government on general health, on everyone else's health. And that is a veto power over $20 billion worth of government health spending. That is not something that is designed to address inequities. And there are two relevant questions here, and it's important that we consider them both. First, is this what the Maori chiefs in Hobson imagined in 1840 when they agreed we are now one people? And secondly, is this the way New Zealanders today in 2021 want to move forward as a society? No. Do we want separation of governance along ethnic lines? No. Yeah. Maori do suffer, as we know, generally as worse health outcomes than many other ethnicities in our society. That is irrefutable. But this is best addressed by targeted programs like Whānau Ora. My view is that separate systems of governance is not what the chiefs in Hobson had in mind, and separate systems will lead to worse outcomes for everyone. It will mean decisions are slow, fraught and inefficient. It changes the fabric of who we are as a society, and it divides our communities. New Zealand, like all countries, works best when we are one people, when we are working together. And this is a broader issue than just health. Health Minister Andrew Little has told the Labour Government Cabinet that two systems are needed in health to meet our treaty obligations. And Jacinda Ardern's Cabinet has signed off on this. So where then does this end, or does it end? If two separate systems are needed in health, does that mean two separate systems are also required in education, in justice, and resource management? The Labour government seems to think we do, because it has commissioned work on this in the form of a report called He Puapua. I suggest you all have a read of it. And this divisive government document spells out a clear vision for New Zealand in 2040 under a two-systems treaty view. It includes two systems for health, two systems for justice. There would be Māori governance and resource management. Foreshore and seabed would move to Māori ownership. The 2019 document proposes separate Māori wards and councils, which you have already seen Labour rush through in urgency just this year. And finally, and most importantly, constitutional reform to consider matters such as a Māori Parliament or an upper house. I need to say that again. The Labour government document, He Puapua, contemplates a separate Māori Parliament or upper house able to veto any decision of the New Zealand Parliament. So my message to Labour is this: New Zealand cannot and will not accept the implementation of two systems by stealth. If Labour believe that the treaty intended two systems for everything, and that is the model that we want in 2021, then this is a fundamental change to our society. And we cannot accept this via a health reform, via Māori wards, and via justice changes. It has to be a national conversation, one that has honest, respectful and open debate. A debate where every voice is heard and every voice is equal. clear vision for where it leads, and one that goes to referendum if needs be. It cannot be snuck through in urgency. Labour's vision for New Zealand will divide us and take us backwards. But by contrast, National will present a positive vision that takes us forward. New Zealand needs national values right now to tackle our infrastructure deficit and to actually get houses built. New Zealand needs a strong national party that has the courage of its convictions and the ability to deliver. We live in a country where it takes decades to build. So we need Resource Management Act reform that will allow us to once again be a country that gets things done. We need to get on to building houses, roads and infrastructure. A second harbour crossing here in Auckland. The east-west link. Yes. Mill Road. Fixing Auckland's pipes and cleaning up our beaches. Investing in more heavy rail and bus rapid transit. RMA reform that will deliver affordable housing and faster commutes. We need more economic growth. Actually, we just need economic growth. We need to attract the world's best and the brightest to come here, not lose our best and brightest. We need to invest in science and growing our technology sector. And we need to empower our businesses and farmers to use science and technology to reduce emissions. Use science, don't close down industries. And we know that enabling commerce enables Kiwis to work together and grow our own future. National wants a New Zealand that's ambitious for itself, and New Zealanders who have the tools to succeed. National will work for all Kiwis to ensure their hard work gets fair reward. When the country's moving forward, New Zealanders have enough money in their pockets to afford the essentials. When the country's moving forward, houses get built and people can afford to buy them. And this is what we'll see inequities addressed. This is what we'll see health outcomes improved for all. But more than that, it will mean all New Zealanders will grow up with aspiration and opportunity. National wants more for New Zealand. We know we have the ability to deliver in government. We believe in New Zealanders, and we firmly believe that we are better together. Thank you.